Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. Now, this is a subject we've touched on before. It is the juryless trials, specifically, of course, for the R and other sexual crimes. It's something that the Scottish Government seems to be hell-bent on pushing through against the wishes of, well, everybody. Everybody is dead against this. Angela Constance, the Justice Secretary, she's quite embarrassed by the low conviction rate. Well, I suggest that's because the case hasn't been made. You can't moan that you can't convince a jury of the guilt and then say that the only way to get the guilt confirmed is through juryless trials, especially as you propose a level. A judge must have a quota of guilty verdicts. This is actually the case. And they say that judges must hit a quota in these cases. And if they don't, then they lose, they can lose their job. Well, that means that some poor chap up there is going to be sitting completely innocent, but the judge is going, God, I haven't got my quota this week. Well, you're guilty. And you've done nothing. It's just, this is how bad this law is. And everybody is dead set completely against it, except Angela Constance, who's constantly for it. If she did her job properly, then it wouldn't be necessary. But of course, this is the SNP. Nobody can do their job. Anyway, we'll take a look at what the latest revelation is. And it's just as you expect from the SNP. Nobody's listening. Here goes. So, questions raised over the SNP's controversial juryless trials, as the Angela Constance correspondence shows a complete lack of lawyer consultation. She said, we're going full consultation with the judicial system. She hasn't asked anyone. She's just decided this is what we're doing. We're going ahead. We've got no evidence. We've got no response. We don't know what people think of it, but we want it, and so that's it. Where's the democracy? Where's the intelligence? How do you propose to enforce a system where everybody is dead set against it? Everybody. So the Scottish Government's Justice Secretary, Angela Constance, has been urged to clarify whether they will be listened to concerned lawyers about the controversial proposals. So basically she's saying, we're going to do a consultation, but then we're not going to listen to you. Now, she is a woman who absolutely no grasp of democracy, but that's the SNP. So the Scottish Government's controversial stance on juryless trials has been called into question amid complaints about a lack of consultation with those who have concerns about them. They never listen. They don't consult. They have their idea and they push through without any regard to whether it's sensible, feasible, cost effective, will produce the results they want, whether they look for the unforeseen consequences. They don't do anything. They just have their ideas and they push. And that is why everything fails. The proposals to run some R trials as judge only launched to scathing reviews from those in the legal field, and we've covered this in the past. Introduced in May and based on recommendations from Lady Dorian, who's the second most important person in the judicial system and who she is desperately trying to be the most important. It would allow alleged R's of women to be tried without a jury of their peers, and this has led to accusations that the SNP is attempting to increase the conviction rate and that it is undemocratic to push ahead with it. A jury trial is the cornerstone of every justice system in the world. There's a reason for it. It's the best system. You have to convince people beyond reasonable doubt. And that's the important line. And the trouble for the SNP is they know that they can't do it and it looks bad for them. And so they want to get rid of the problem, the jury. And so that the judge can be controlled. They amalgamated all the police forces into one so that it was much easier to control. And if they can do this with this particular type of crime and have a juryless trial and say to the judges, you have your quota, what next? Burglary, muggings, every crime, no juries, end of the jury system? Turning into a fascist state, isn't it? Where the judges aren't judging a trial on the evidence, they're judging on a quota system. Where's justice? All bar associations have announced that their members will boycott any attempt to run a pilot for juryless trials, leaving the plans in doubt. Every single bar association across Scotland, every single lawyer, solicitor, barrister and judge have come out against it. How the hell are they going to do this when the entire legal profession is saying no? It's madness, isn't it? And this is it. They're not listening because the very next line. But the government has confirmed they will push ahead with these plans. Nobody's going to listen to you. The entire legal profession is rejecting it and they're going to push ahead with it anyway. Sheer arrogance. They think this is going to work. Sheer arrogance, isn't it? Hopefully they won't be in a position long enough for this to happen. The Scottish Daily Express can reveal that critics of the proposals are worried that the SNP will attempt to railroad them through without listening to the concerns. They won't listen. Of course they won't listen. They never listen. They are obsessive. They are single-minded. They do not brook any argument to their plans, even when those plans are shown to be damaging, dangerous, inefficient, expensive, and at complete odds with international law. They still push ahead with them because they know best. They can do no wrong. They are the SNP. This can be evidenced by the fact that the Justice Secretary, Angela Constance, has not discussed them through any official correspondence with anyone between May the 1st and June the 9th, when they were a hot topic across Scotland. She's not discussing it with anyone because she doesn't want to hear the answers. You know, she knows if she asks the question she won't like the answer. She doesn't ask the question. She pushes on, knowing that it's hated. When asked about how these pilots will go ahead if lawyers boycott them, an official wrote, "The legal profession will have further opportunity to contribute their views on the proposal for the pilot during parliamentary scrutiny of the Victims, Witnesses and Justice Reform Scotland Bill. The Scottish Government will continue to engage with the legal profession as the bill proposes the pilot move forward." So completely not answering the question of how they think they can get it when the entire legal system is against it. Here's a different answer to a different question. Because we can't answer the question we've been asked. Because there is no answer. Because they know this will fail. This will fail massively. And indeed, this could fail to a point where it breaches the International Convention on Human Rights, which is the right to a fair trial. How can it possibly be a fair trial if the judge has got a quota? And so they're proposing a law. They're going to waste all this time, effort and money trying to push the law through, which will be struck down under the International Human Rights Law. These people are absolute fucking morons. Scottish Tory Justice Secretary Russell Findlay urged the SNP to come clean about whether they would be listening to any of the valid concerns of lawyers about the plans. He told the Scottish Daily Express the SNP Justice Secretary should clarify what engagement she has had in response to those who expressed serious concerns about the juryless trials. What cannot be allowed to happen is for the SNP to ignore valid concerns and only listen to those with whom they agree. We've seen such selective hearing before, including during the reckless approach to gender self-ID. Now, on that case, they had these committees set up, and the committees were listening to trans people. They were listening to people who were trans, families of trans. They were listening to the doctors who wanted to be able to do these things early. They were listening to the psychologists saying it was very important and blah, 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 blah. The one person or the one set of people they did not allow, never mind never listen to, they wouldn't even allow to speak to the committee were women who were victims of DV, women who were the victims of R, women who were the victims of trans in women-only spaces, things like that. Oh, they weren't even allowed to speak to the committee because they knew that those voices went against what they were trying to do. That's the SNP. And they're doing the same here. And they're not going to allow anyone who gainsays what they want to be allowed to speak to this committee. Oh, he's against. Oh, well, we've got to find an excuse. No, not him. We only want the yes men. We only want the kiss asses, the lick spittles, and the yes men. Anyway, all too often, the nationalists arrogantly and irresponsibly push through legislation with the backing of the extremist Greens without listening to experts. They daren't listen to experts. Again, it's what I say all the time about the SNP. The experts tell the truth, and the truth is so damaging to the SNP, they cannot listen to it. Anyway, he said they need to fully consult on their plans and actually listen to the answers. You're having a laugh? Who are they going to listen to? They don't listen to anyone. Most of Scotland's top legal minds have spoken out against the prospect of juryless trials. Donald Findlay Casey described them as an attack on democracy, while Amar Anwar accused the government of cherry-picking views to suit their agenda. And they absolutely have. There's been no engagement, there's been no consultation. She's pushing through with these plans based purely and solely on the obsessive single-driven mind of her own. She won't listen to anyone because she's sheer arrogance. But it is lunacy, and it cannot possibly succeed. It will be struck down at the first appeal under the European Convention of Human Rights and a fair trial. Done. And yet here they go, pushing this mindless stupidity of an act because of arrogance. Anyway, I shall round off and come up. Perhaps Angela Constance could take a slightly different approach and ensure that, perhaps the police did their job at investigating, and that the prosecution service actually could deliver a proper trial, proper verdict, by convincing the jury, because it's got the evidence that the police have discovered. It's got a sufficient resource in order to bring a trial to conclusion in the way they want. It's pointless prosecuting if you don't have the evidence and then moaning that you keep losing these trials. It's not hard. Get the evidence, bring them to trial. If you haven't got the evidence, there's no trial. And if there's no trial, then you don't get the conviction failures that you're obviously having. It's like any crime. All crimes are different, but they all rely on the same thing: means, motive, opportunity, and evidence. And you've got none of that. Can't be moaning. It's not the fault of the jury that you're not doing your job. So you can't get rid of the jury just because it's unfortunate for your figures. Do a better job, improve your figures. Anyway, I shall finish there. Thank you very much for watching. If you like what you're seeing here on the channel, please hit the subscribe button. And we're getting very close to another target. We're really nice to get. And don't forget to ring the bell. Leave a like, leave a comment, share the video. And until next time, stay safe, stay well. And remember, the SNP are working for their own agenda. And they do nothing for you. Bye.